Surat Yusuf, the chapter of Joseph. In the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate. And I should have said that to start the last chapter. I'm not sure if it did, because only Surah 9 is that the case that you don't say that. In the name of Allah, the merciful, the compassionate. Alif Lam Ra. These are the signs of the book that is clear. Verily, we have sent it down as an Arabic Qur'an. Mayhap ye will understand. We shall give thee the best account, in that we have suggested to thee this Qur'an, although before that thou wert one of the negligent. Recall when Joseph said to his father, O my father, I have seen 11 stars, and the sun and the moon. I have seen them to me doing obeisance. He said, O my son, do not recount thy vision to thy brothers, lest they devise some stratagem against thee. Verily, Satan is to man a manifest enemy. Thus doth thy Lord choose thee and teach thee to the interpretation of sayings, and perfect his favor upon thee and upon the family of Jacob, as he perfected it upon thy fathers Abraham and Isaac formerly. Verily, thy Lord is knowing, wise. In Joseph and his brethren were signs for those who inquire. Recall when they said, Joseph and his brother are dearer to our father than we, though we are a band. Surely our father is in manifest error. Kill Joseph or make him an outcast. As to land, your father's countenance will then be freed for you, and you will thereafter be an upright people. One of them said, do not kill Joseph, but throw him into the bottom of the cistern, and some caravan will take him up, if ye are going to do anything. They said, O our father, why dost thou not trust us with Joseph? Verily, we are to him sincere advisers. Send him with us tomorrow. We shall enjoy ourselves and play, and verily we over him shall keep guard. He replied, it certainly grieves me that ye should take him away, and I fear that the wolf may eat him, while ye of him are negligent. They said, surely if the wolf eat him, and we a band, we in that case are indeed losers. So when they had taken him away and agreed to place him in the bottom of the cistern, and we suggested to him the thought, thou wilt certainly tell them of this affair of theirs when they are not aware. They came to their father in the evening, weeping. They said, O our father, we went off trying who should be foremost, and left Joseph by our stuff, and the wolf ate him. But thou art not one to believe us, even though we were telling the truth. And they have put false blood upon his shirt. He said, nay, ye have blown up a bubble for yourselves, but to endure is becoming, and Allah is the one to be asked for help against what ye talk about. A caravan came, and they sent their water drawer, who let down his bucket. He said, oh, good news, here is a young man. So they concealed him as merchandise, but Allah was cognizant of what they were doing. They sold him at a low price, a certain number of dirhams, for they thought little of him. He who bought him, being from Egypt, said to his wife, make his dwelling honorable. Possibly he may be of use to us, or we may adopt him as a son. And thus did we make a place for Joseph in the land, and it was in order that we might teach him the interpretation of sayings. Allah is master of his affair, but most of the people do not know. And when he reached his full strength, we gave him jurisdiction and knowledge. And thus do we reward those who do well. She in whose house he was solicited him for himself, locked the doors and said, come. He replied, Allah preserve me. Verily my Lord has given me a good dwelling. Surely the wrongdoers will not prosper. In Arabic, also, it would be she, where we know it was a female. She in whose house he was solicited him for herself. He was fascinated with him and he was fascinated with her. Had it not been that he saw a proof from his Lord, and thus it was in order that we might turn away from him evil and indecency. Verily, he was one of our single-hearted servants. They raced for the door, and she rent his shirt from behind. At the door they met her master. She said, "What is the recompense of one who has intended evil towards thy household, unless it be that he be imprisoned, or a painful punishment?" He said, "She solicited me for myself." Then one of her household bore witness, "If his shirt is torn from before, she has spoken the truth, and he is one of those who speak falsely. But if his shirt is torn from behind, she has spoken falsely, and he is one of those who speak the truth." So when he saw his shirt torn from behind, he said, "It is some of your guile. Verily your guile is mighty. Joseph, take no further notice of this, and do thou, a woman, ask pardon for thy sin. Verily thou hast been one of those who commit faults." Some women in the city said, "The wife of the great man solicits her page for herself. He has smitten her heart with love. Verily we consider her to be in manifest error." So when she heard their cunning talk, she sent a message to them and prepared for them a feast, and to each of them she gave a knife. Then she said to Joseph, "Come forth to them." So when they saw him, they were so astonished at him that they cut their hands. And they said, saving Allah's presence, "This is not a man, this is nothing but a noble angel." She said, "That is he in regard to whom ye blamed me. I have solicited him for myself." But he defended himself. "But assuredly, if he does not do what I command him, he will be imprisoned and become one of the subdued." He said, "My lord, I prefer the prison to that to which they invite me. If thou dost not avert their guile from me, I shall play the youth with them and become one of the ignorant." Then his lord answered him and averted their guile from him. Verily he is the one who hears and knows. Then it seemed good to them, after they had seen the signs, let them imprison him for a time. There entered the prison with him 2 pages. One of them said, "I see myself pressing wine." The other said, "I see myself carrying upon my head bread of which the birds eat. Tell us the interpretation thereof, for we consider thee one of those who do well." He said, "There will not come to you any food with which ye are provided, but before it comes to you, I shall tell you the interpretation thereof, and that is part of what my Lord hath taught me. Verily I have forsaken the creed of the people who do not believe in Allah, and who in the hereafter do disbelieve, and have followed the creed of my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was not for us to associate anything with Allah, and that is part of the bounty of Allah to us and to the people, but most of the people do not show gratitude. O my 2 fellow prisoners, are various lords better? Are Allah the one, the victorious? Apart from him ye serve only names which you and your fathers have named, and for which Allah has sent down no authority. The jurisdiction belongs to Allah alone. He hath commanded that ye serve none but himself, and that is the eternal religion, but most of the people do not know. O my 2 fellow prisoners, as for one of you, he will pour out wine for his Lord. As for the other, he will be crucified, and the birds will eat from his head. The matter is decided concerning which he sought an answer. He said to the one of them who he thought was to escape, "Make mention of me in the presence of thy Lord." But Satan caused him to forget to mention him to his Lord, so he remained in the prison several years. The king said, "I see 7 fat kine, which 7 lean ones are eating, and 7 green ears of corn, and others dry. O ye nobility, give me an answer in regard to my vision of visions. Ye are able to expound." They said, "A tangle of dreams, and with the interpretation of dreams we are not acquainted." Said the one of them who had escaped, for he recollected himself after a period, "I shall inform you of the interpretation thereof. So give me leave to go. Joseph, trusty friend, give us an answer in the matter." and the matter of 7 fat kine, which 7 lean ones are eating, and 7 green ears of corn, and others dry. Mayhap I shall return to the people, mayhap they will know. He said, Ye shall sow diligently 7 years, and what ye harvest, leave in its ears, except a little, from which ye may eat. Then after that will come 7 hard years, which will eat up what ye have laid beforehand for them, except a little, which ye keep guarded. Then after that will come a year in which the people will have rain, and will press the grape. The king said, Bring him to me. But when the messenger came to him, he said, Return to thy lord, and ask him, What about the women who cut their hands? Verily, my lord, with their guile is acquainted. He said, What about the affair of yours, when ye solicited Joseph for himself? They replied, Saving Allah's presence, we know no evil against him. The wife of the great man said, Now the truth has come to earth. I solicited him for himself, and he is one of those who speak the truth. That is in order that he may do that I did not betray him in secret, and that Allah doth not guide the guile of the treacherous. I declare not myself innocent, for the self habitually urges to evil, except in so far as my Lord hath compassion. Verily my Lord is forgiving, compassionate. The king said, Bring him to me, I shall single him out for myself. So when he spoke to him, he said, See this day, thou art at our side, firmly established and trusted. He said, Set me over the storehouses of the land. Verily I am a wise guardian. And thus did we make a place for Joseph in the land, so that he might settle in it wherever he willed. We cause our mercy to light upon whomsoever we will, and we allow not to perish the reward of those who do well. But the reward of the hereafter is better for those who have believed and have been showing piety. The brethren of Joseph came and went into him. He recognized them, but him they thought a stranger. When he fitted them out with what they required, he said, Bring me a brother of yours, a son of your father. See, I give full measure, and I am the best of entertainers. So if ye do not bring him to me, there is no measure for you with me, and ye shall not come near me. They said, We shall solicit his father for him. Surely we shall do so. He said to his pages, Place their goods in their packs. Mayhap they will recognize them when they return to their families. Mayhap they will return. So when they returned to their father, they said, O our father, further measure has been refused us, but send with us our brother, and we shall get measure. Verily we of him shall be guardians. He said, Shall I trust you with him, except as formerly I trusted you with his brother? Allah is the best guardian, and he is the most merciful of the merciful. When they opened their stuff, they found their goods returned to them. And they said, O our father, what more do we desire? Here are our goods returned to us. We shall supply our households and guard our brother and get an extra measure of a camel load. And that is an easy measure. He said, I shall not send him with you until you give me an assurance from Allah that ye will surely bring him back to me, unless it be that ye are beset. So when they had given him their assurance and said, Allah over what we say hath charge, he said, O my sons, enter not by one gate, but enter by different gates. I avail you not against Allah at all. The jurisdiction rests with Allah alone. Upon him have I set my trust, and upon him let those who trust set their trust. When they had entered in the way, their father commanded them. It did not avail them against Allah at all. It was only a need in the south of Jacob, which he satisfied. He was assuredly in possession of knowledge because of what we had taught him, but most of the people do not know. When they went into Joseph, he took his brother to his side and said, Truly I am thy brother, so do not be distressed at what they have been doing. So when he fitted them out with what they required, he put the drinking vessel in his brother's load. Then one made proclamation, O caravan, ye are thieves. They said, approaching them, What is it that ye miss? And they said, We miss the king's goblet. To him who brings it, a camel load will be given. I for it am guarantor. They said, By Allah, ye know that we did not come to work corruption in the land, and we have not been thieves. And they said, What is it? What then is the recompense thereof, if ye are speaking falsely? They said, the recompense thereof, he in whose load it is found, shall be the recompense thereof. So do we recompense the wrongdoers. So he began with their sacks before his brother's sack, and afterwards he brought it forth from his brother's sack. Thus did we make a stratagem for Joseph. He was not one to take his brother in the religion of the king. System of judgment. But that Allah willed it, we raise in rank whomsoever we will, and above everyone who has knowledge is one who knows. They said, if he steals, then a brother of his has stolen before, but Joseph concealed it in himself and did not let it appear to them. He said, ye are in evil plight, and Allah knoweth well what ye talk about. They said, O great one, he has a father, an old man advanced in years, so take one of us instead of him. We think thee to be one of those who do well. He said, Allah forbid that we should take anyone but him, in whose possession we found our stuff. In that case, we should be wrongdoers. So when they despaired of him, they withdrew privately. The eldest of them said, do ye not know that your father has laid you under an assurance from Allah, and a little before ye transgressed in the matter of Joseph? So I shall not leave the land until my father gives me permission, or Allah gives judgment to my favor. He is the best of judges. Return to your father and say, O our father, your son has committed a theft. We testify only what we know, and against the unseen we could not guard. Ask the city in which we have been, and the caravan in which we have come. Assuredly, we speak the truth. He said, nay, ye have blown up a bubble for yourselves, but to endure is becoming. Possibly Allah will bring them to me, both together. He is the one who knows and judges. He turned from them and said, O my grief for Joseph, and his eyes grew white for grief, and he was filled with suppressed emotion. They said, by Allah, thou wilt not cease making mention of Joseph until thou art decrepit, are amongst those about to perish. He said, I make complaint of my agitation and grief to Allah. I know of Allah what ye do not know. O my sons, and seek news of Joseph and his brother. Despair not the comfort of Allah. None despair the comfort of Allah, but the unbelieving people. When they went into him, they said, O great one, famine has come upon us and our households, and we have brought transported goods. So give us good measure and bestow alms upon us. Verily Allah rewardeth the givers of alms. He said, do ye know what ye did with Joseph and his brother when ye were ignorant? They said, art thou Joseph? He said, I am Joseph, and this is my brother. Allah has bestowed favor upon us. Truly, if one shows piety and endures patiently, Allah alloweth not to perish the reward of those who do well. They said, by Allah, Allah hath preferred thee before us, and we have been indeed at fault. He said, there is no reproach upon you today. Allah will forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. Take this shirt of mine and cast it upon my father's face, and he will become quick-sighted and come to me with your families in a body. When the caravan departed, their father said, surely I feel the smell of Joseph. Were it not that ye think me doting? They said, by Allah, thou art surely in thy old-time error. So when the bringer of good tidings came, he cast it upon his face, and he was rendered quick-sighted. He said, did I not say to you, verily I know of Allah what ye know not? They said, O our Father, pray for us, that our sins may be forgiven. Verily, we have been at fault. He said, I shall pray my Lord for forgiveness for you. Verily, he is the forgiving, the compassionate. When they had gone into Joseph, he took his parents to his side and said, enter Egypt, if Allah will, in security. He brought his parents up upon the throne, and they all fell down before him in obeisance. He said, O my father, this is the interpretation of my vision aforetime. My Lord hath made it true. He hath done well by me, seeing he hath brought me out of the prison, and hath brought you from the desert. After that, Satan had stirred up strife between me and my brethren. Verily, my Lord gently reacheth whatsoever he willeth. He is the knowing, the wise. O my Lord, thou hast bestowed power upon me and hast taught me the interpretation of sayings. Creator of the heavens and the earth, thou art my patron in this world and in the hereafter. Call me in to thyself, a Muslim, and join me with the upright. But this is one of the stories, the unseen, which we give thee by inspiration. Thou wert not with them when they came to the resolution in the plotting. Most of the people, even though thou shouldest be zealous, are not believers. Thou askest them for no reward for it. It is simply a reminder to the worlds. How many assign in the heavens and the earth do they pass by, therefrom averting themselves? The most of them do not believe in Allah, except they associate others with him. Do they then feel secure against an overwhelming stroke of the punishment of Allah coming upon them? Are the hour coming upon them suddenly when they are not aware? Say, this is my way, I summon to Allah on the basis of a demonstration. I am those who follow me, glory be to Allah. I am not one of those who associate others with him. We never sent before thee any but men, to whom we made suggestions of the people of the towns. Have they then not traveled about in the land and seen of what nature was the end of those who were before them? But assuredly the abode of the hereafter is better for those who have shown piety. Will they not then be intelligent until when the messengers despaired and thought that they had spoken falsely? Our help came to them when those to whom we willed were rescued, and our violence was not turned back from the sinful people. But surely in the giving account of them there has been a lesson for those of insight. It was not an invented tale, but a confirmation of what was before it, a clear setting forth of everything, a guidance and a mercy to believing people. And notice how, I mean, there's a lot of lessons that can be brought up, but notice how it kind of mirrors itself. Notice how it was, saying that, oh, this is the woman. It wasn't that God said the one thing. I mean, God was quoting the incident. God wasn't saying, but it's a family of Muslimin, people, which is not something that started with Muhammad. It's just the Arabic word, came to fruition under the Arabic language with Muhammad. It was, the previous nations, you translate everything's over, it's the same thing. They lived under the system of judgment of other people. So it's not saying that slavery for theft or that sort of thing. Now, I will support slavery in terms of those, as they're fighting the Muslims, and so therefore they're this physical threat. And if they're subdued and brought in, well, slavery. But certain injustices that are attributed to prison and stuff like that are not part of that. So that's not what we're talking about here. And you do see people, if they're in a habit of playing games with whoever, when it turns out that it is, that when their father is true, they're in the habit of kind of making fun of their father, which is not something they should do. So we're warned, we're told, okay, we can enjoy ourselves, we can, well, I'll comment more about this later.